How's it going, guys, and welcome back to that one channel on YouTube that's answering questions about Super Mario Bros. That nobody's asking me to answer, but I'm here to answer them anyway. So today we're going to be seeing if it's possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii without pressing left at all. This challenge is going to be pretty difficult, but can we do it? Let's find out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, leave a like on the video, and with that out of the way, let's do this. Okay, so starting off this run is 1-1. This level is nice and easy, because it's the first level of the run. It's introducing people into how to play the game, so there's not many enemies, so we don't really need to press left to instantly slow down, because we can easily tell what's coming up ahead, and we can just make adjustments for when we need to by letting go of right, or maybe ground pounding to lose speed. But other than that, it's a nice and simple level. 1-1 out of the way, no problem there. 1-2, same again. There's not really too many enemies, so we don't really need to slow down that quickly, meaning we don't need the left press to like completely deplete our acceleration. If we need to lose speed, we can ground pound, but we can make adjustments pretty quickly because we can see what's coming up ahead. Now the end section with the piranha plants is a little bit more difficult, as we do need to be a bit more careful and cautious with our movement, and we do need to go a bit slower, but again, as long as we are careful, there's no need for rapid deceleration, and we can get to the end of the level really easily. 1-3 is a little bit more painful, as this is a Yoshi level, and we can't actually go backwards to hit the blocks because we can't press the left. So when we hit a block, we can't get Yoshi because there's no walls to wall jump off of, and he just kind of has to be abandoned. But other than that, this level is quite simple, but then it occurred to me, to get the secret exit, we need Yoshi to get the flutter. So how do we get backwards? Well, initially my thought was to wall jump off of the red pipe, because if I do that, then I can use the speed to go backwards by constantly jumping to get enough acceleration to get Yoshi and get into the flutter. Or so I thought. But I didn't quite get enough acceleration, so I tried it again, and this time went a little bit better, and I did get a lot more acceleration, and I did actually manage to get pretty close to getting Yoshi, but I still fell a bit short. So then I had the idea of using the hill with the secret coins to ground pound off of, to get more acceleration backwards, and this worked so much better, and I did actually manage to get enough acceleration to get back to Yoshi. Should be the end of the level then, right? Well, I went a bit too far, and I couldn't get back up onto the platform. So using the hill from before where the red pipe is, I ground pounded with Yoshi and got so much acceleration from that, to then be able to get back to where the secret warp is, and manage to beat the level without too much hassle after that, allowing us to get the secret exit and finally leave World 1 pretty quickly without too much hassle at all. Okay, getting into the first level of World 5. Now this level is a lot more difficult than the previous levels we've done, obviously because we've gone further in worlds, and the difficulty definitely racks up, but again, it doesn't really need that much left presses, and we can easily just avoid them by carefully jumping and timing pretty correctly and adjusting our movement. Until we get to this one section with these platforms, let me just show you in a time lapse how long this takes. Yeah, not being able to press left really isn't nice for that section, as we have to time each jump very carefully. But after that's out of the way, we can easily just get to the end of the level. No left presses, which is the win in my books. Okay, so the next level we're doing is 5-3, and this level we have to be a lot more careful on. This level is definitely a lot harder than any of the other levels we've done so far, because our movements just have to be much more precise, as we can't slow our acceleration by pressing left. So we just have to be more careful with how we're moving, but as long as we are cautious and we are careful with it, this level is not too much of a challenge compared to some of the levels we're going to be playing. There are a couple of difficult bits like this one bit with the Kaizo block, because if we're too boisterous and we run too fast, we will end up getting hit. And there's also the characters at the end are moving a lot faster. But other than that, if we are careful, this level is a piece of cake, as we can just easily kill them off and get through the last pipe to get to the end of the level. Easy peasy. So initially I thought 5-Fortress was going to be impossible, as there's not enough blocks to be able to jump on without having to wall jump off of the spikes wall, and obviously you can only do that once before you're Little Mario and you will die from one hit. So I was going to go back to World 2 and just give up, when it clicked to me that I can use the propeller suit to propel my way all the way from the bottom to the checkpoint. And let me tell you, this is no joke. This level was not messing around. You have to time your jump so precisely, because one hit and you have to start from the bottom, because you need the propeller suit for the next bit as well. So with a lot of grinding and about 20 minutes put into just this first section, I finally made it to the checkpoint, and this next section is surprisingly even harder than the first section, as you have to time that first jump so tight, because if you get hit twice, then you might as well just give up with the level. But once you get past that, I'll just let you watch what you have to do next. Yeah, pretty crazy. You can only get hit twice throughout that whole level, otherwise you have to start right at the beginning, but then you just get to the end boss fight and it's pretty simple. Okay, so the next level we're doing is 5-4, and this level seems a lot harder than it actually is. I think the only difficult part about this is just how long it takes to beat the level, seeing as we can't actually move left on the platform to attack the enemies behind us, so once we move right we're stuck to the end unless we jump with the platform moving underneath us. To actually move backwards, which just takes so long and it's such a long-winded process. But other than that, it's just a game of waiting really for the platform to go back and the enemies to either walk off or just being able to shoot them with the fire flower. But after like 2.5 minutes of playing this level, maybe 3 minutes, you can finally get to the end, and honestly, it's not too difficult, it's just really obnoxiously long. Okay, so the next level we're having to do is 5-5, because of the way the map works, it kind of blocks us off from the ghost house, so we have to beat 5-5 first. And this level is the most tedious level I've ever played. You have to be so careful with your jumps, because you cannot go backwards, and these things are moving right the whole time. And if you make one mistake, you can't clear the level. You have to start from the beginning, because else you'll just fall into the pit and die. But if you're careful and you have enough patience, this level is fairly easy. It's just really annoying to get through on one playthrough, seeing as you don't know what's coming up ahead, and you can't really calculate your jump from where you jumped, because you can't see what's coming from the right side until it's there, due to the level being an auto-scroller. So now we can just press up and go to the ghost house, right? Well, not exactly, as there's no path that actually builds upwards to the ghost house from 5-5, and we can't go left to go back around. We actually have to go back to the beginning of World 5 by changing worlds, and then chances are we're going to have to do this little bonus game with the piranha plants, and at first it looks impossible, as you can't go to the left side of the screen by pressing left. But if you time your jumps carefully, you can move yourself to the left side of these platforms, which will then bring you from the right side to the left, and as long as we're careful, this bonus room is pretty easy to do. Finally, we've made it to 5-Spoo House, and this level is actually really easy, surprisingly, because the secret exit is near the beginning. All you have to do is do the one wall jump and go in the secret door. Just be careful to jump on the light blocks and not to miss your jumps, because you can't go back obviously if you jump too far. And there are only 3 blocks you can jump on, but as long as you're careful, this section is not difficult at all. Just be careful for the boo ring at the end, but as long as you're careful again, you time your jumps right, you can easily just jump straight through to finish the level and get the secret exit. So now we should be done with World 5, right? Well, not quite, because we can't go left to get to the cannon, because we can't press left. So we have to restart the world by changing worlds, and then the vines are blocking us off again, so we have to go into any level and just die quickly. And then once we've done that, the vines should move, and we should be able to get to the cannon pretty easily to finally get out of this hell-ridden World 5, and finally make it to World 8. And so we finally made it to World 8, and the first level is pretty easy as long as we are a bit careful. If we ever need to go left, there are quite a lot of hills where we can just slide down to get acceleration to go left, but we shouldn't need it. The only thing we do need to be really careful about are the meteorites, because if we get stuck and big ones are falling, then we can't go left to avoid them, and if we can't go right, then we have to take damage. But if we've got a mushroom, then that's pretty easy to avoid, because we can just damage boost it. But the only other things we have to be really careful is the lava fumes, or lava plumes, or whatever you want to call them, that are coming out of the ground. But as long as we are patient, we can get past those pretty simply to get us to the end of the level and get out of the first level of World 8. So going into 8-2, the beginning of this level is quite easy as long as we avoid the meteorites. Going into the underground section, the mushroom at the beginning we can get, because there is a backward slant that we can slide down to grab the mushroom, thankfully. And then it's just a matter of running through the level really. There's nothing where we need to really hold left until we try and get the secret exit, which I tried for like 10 minutes to get, and then I realised that you actually need to be able to press left to go in the pipe. So that completely rules out the secret exit, meaning we have to beat the level normally, but this level was really easy and there's nothing really to say on it, seeing as the whole level we just hold right to get to the end. 8-3 is simple. If we just hold right and run, we can avoid most of the little lava bubbles that are going across the screen the whole time, just by running and jumping to the right. But there's a bit where we have to go into a cave section, and we have to be super careful there not to run too quickly, because we can't even ground pound to slow down seeing as it's all slanted, but as long as we're careful we can get through that. And then we get to the last section, which has like these little moving platforms. Again, we have to be a bit more careful on them, but we can ground pound to slow ourselves down, getting us through this level without too much trouble. This world has definitely been a lot easier than World 5 for us. Unfortunately, that is kind of where the run ends, as we cannot press left to go across the bridge to get to the fortress. And I know a couple of people are going to be like, oh, but it's just the minimap, you can press left, it's fine. But that will completely defeat the purpose of not pressing left for the whole run, if I'm pressing left on the minimap. And we can't take the secret exit, obviously, on 8-2 to get past this, because we can't press left to get into the pipe. So unfortunately, that's where the run ends. So unfortunately, it is not possible to beat this game without pressing left at all. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, or if you haven't already, leave a comment on what you'd like to see me do next, and I'll see you in the next video.